Hi, Anna Scheller here with Capri Temporary Housing. I hope you're having a wonderful holiday season, and I want to introduce you to a three-part video series that we're going to be doing on holiday safety. You see, I have a second-degree black belt in Taekwondo. I have taught women's self-defense, and I'm also a certified instructor with the National Rifle Association for its Refuse to be a Victim course. And nothing would be more distressing than to have something happen that you become the victim of a crime during this holiday season, the season of joy and giving. And so over the next 3 videos, I'm going to share with you some tips that I believe are going to be important for you to protect yourself against becoming the victim of a crime at a time when everybody wants to be happy. Now, first I'd like to talk about why it's important and why we have to think about these things. Then we're going to talk about safety in your home. Then we'll talk about when you're traveling, what things you can do. And finally, safety for your family, particularly on the internet during this time of year when our children are home with us and have more time on their hands. Now, understanding how a criminal thinks helps us to develop the idea, or rather to reduce the likelihood that we'll become the victim of a crime. You see, criminals don't think like we do. Criminals are people with low self-esteem who are looking to have power over other people and who are looking for opportunities to get in and out quickly. They want to have power, and they don't want to be detected. So the tips that we're going to discuss right now for your home safety are ways that you can be like a magician to create an illusion of occupancy so that if a robber or a burglar is driving past your house and your house looks like it's occupied and the next person's doesn't, he's more likely to pick the other person's house than pick yours. All right? Sound fair enough? Well, the first thing let's talk about is your travel plans. You know, we all have travel plans. We're going to be gone for maybe a few hours up to a couple of weeks away from our home. So we want to take proper precautions to ensure that, or to reduce the likelihood that someone is going to pick us for the next target for a burglary. One of the things I want to encourage you to do is to not discuss your travel plans in public. Now, why is that? You don't know who knows where you live. You don't know perfect strangers. There are people who pose as telemarketers who will call and are giving you a survey. And what they're really doing is they're casing to see if you're going to be home. So you want to be very careful that you only share your travel plans with people who need to know or trusted friends. Now, when you're leaving your home, make an arrangement for a neighbor or a family member to watch your house and pick up the newspapers. Now, we all know to keep the mail from bulging out of our boxes. But a yard full of newspapers tells somebody you're not home. You might want to consider getting a house sitter. There are many college students who are looking for an extra few dollars over the holidays who might not be able to get a job at one of the local stores. And they would welcome the opportunity to live in your home, away from their families, I might add, have a little space to themselves, and to make a few bucks on the side as well. Let me tell you a quick story how this benefited our home, our family. About 20 years ago, we had discovered that my father was dying, and we were living in Alaska at the time. So my children and I flew to my parents' home in Washington State. My husband was going out in the field with the Army on exercise. So we had a friend who we asked to drive by our home every day to check on it to make sure that everything was fine. Well, one day I had this strong urge to call some friends of mine. It was a different set of friends up in Alaska. And the husband answered the phone, and it was quite early in the morning. So I was kind of surprised that he answered, but what surprised me more is he said, "So do you want to talk to your husband?" And I said, "Why would I want to talk to my husband? I'd love to, but he's out in the field." And he said, "No, he's not. He's here. Something's happened to your house." So when my husband got on the phone, he explained that our friend Barbara had been driving by the house, and she saw black smoke billowing out from underneath the garage door. So she tried to get a hold of some people, tried to get in. It turned out that the furnace had malfunctioned, and instead of burning the oil cleanly, it wasn't burning it cleanly, and the soot was getting into our home, and it was all over the place. My husband had been called in from the field to handle the situation. Now, if we didn't have a friend going by there, we don't know how long it would have been before we would have found out about the damage to our property. So it's always a good idea, even in the situation where we weren't going to be victims of crime, we had a safety issue. It was a great thing that my friend Barbara was helping us out. Now, I think most people know about putting timers on lights inside and out to make your house look occupied. Keep in mind that if it looks occupied, a criminal is probably not going to risk being caught just to get a few things. So having the lights turn on and off is going to create enough doubt in their mind that maybe they'll move to another target. While there's no guarantee, certainly it will be a higher likelihood that they'll move on than if you didn't have the lights working on your home. The last tip is probably a tip that most people don't think about, but this is a tip I think that's going to benefit you all year long, because even though right now criminals and burglars are looking for greater opportunities because we're so busy and we're less attentive to our homes, this is a tip that if you will implement it and you will change at least this one thing, you may save yourself a lot of grief in the future. What is the biggest entrance to your house? Why, it's the garage door if you have one. It is the biggest entrance to your house. And what is the greatest feature of convenience that we have? Well, they're the garage door openers. We like having them in the consoles of our car. But let me walk you through a scenario that can happen if you leave your garage door opener in your car. Again, this time of year, criminals are on the prowl. They're looking for unattended vehicles. They're looking for cars that may have a lot of gifts in them. And they'll carjack those cars. They'll steal them. Let's say your car has a GPS, and on your GPS it has your home address. All the criminal has to do is turn on your GPS. He knows where you live now, and he's got your garage door opener. He drives to your home, he opens the garage door, and voila, he now has access to your entire home. I'd like to encourage you, 1, set your GPS to something else, maybe Walmart. You know how to get to your home, right? So you really don't need the GPS to tell you how to get home once you get back to town. And 2, put your garage door opener in your purse or briefcase or something that you carry with you all the time. That way, even if your car gets stolen, you have not given access to your home to a burglar or a criminal. I hope these tips have helped you. Next week I'd like to talk to you about travel safety, so be on the lookout. If you like this video, please note it below and make some comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to speaking with you next week.